I am Kim Tracy with the Maxwell James Speaker Agency in Denver, Colorado, and I am so excited to be speaking with Dr. TC North out of Boulder, Colorado. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great, Kim. We got this beautiful summer day. I love this time of year.
It is the best because we're about to enter our Indian summer, right?
Yes, yeah, which is actually the best period of summer.
That is true. So I'm going to dive right in. We are talking about a really exciting topic that you have, been basically mulling over the past couple of weeks. It's lessons from Rio. Can you talk to me about this idea?
Yeah, and you asked me to speak specifically about mental rehearsal today. So since we wanted to keep this nice and short, I'm gonna focus on that. And I've been mulling this over since the 80s, Kim. And what's really funny, now I'm working with executives, I'm working top salespeople and entrepreneurs, and they're all into mental training. They love the mental training stuff and the mindfulness stuff. And just what kind of cracks me up is we were doing this in sports psychology back in the 1980s. This is not new to my practice. This is really old in my practice, but it's new in the business world. And so I love it when the Olympics come, and it's always a fun time for me because I get to talk about the combination of how athletes use all these techniques to in their mind to enhance their performance and translate that into the business world. So the mental rehearsal is a form of what we call imagery or visualization. You'll hear those terms, but it's a specific way to do it. And when you mentally rehearse and athletes to watch, if you're watching the Olympics now, and if the Olympics are over, great sports to watch are high skill sports like diving, um, like in the winter, technical skiing, like mogul skiing, where you have a high level of physical activity and technical challenge. And all those athletes, and I used to do this at the Olympic Training Center, we would teach them how to mentally rehearse. And the reason why we teach athletes to mentally rehearse is there's a lot of science, there's over 100 studies showing that mental rehearsal actually increases performance. So what happens in the brain when you think about something? Literally, you send the same signals through your brain. The neural networks of your brain that hold that pattern are fired, and every time that pattern in your brain is fired, it gets stronger. And a stronger pattern in your brain means you're more likely to do that. So every time you think about doing something as best you can or as perfectly as you can or to the excellence level that you can, you literally are training the neural networks in your brain much like you're training a muscle to get stronger. And then when you actually go to do it in physically, that is the pattern that your body follows. That's how mental rehearsal works and why it's so effective. And it's not just about sports. You can mentally rehearse how you are with your spouse and how you are with your kids and how you are with your boss and how you are with your team. And as speakers, do it all the time. How you are on stage and how you connect with an audience. All of that can be pre-programmed, and it gives you more control of yourself, especially to be your best under stress.
Hmm. Can you give the viewers a case study so they can kind of give a frame of reference?
Case study of an athlete, or
Whomever.
yeah. So back in the day when I did a lot of work with athletes, it was always something that we would work on is what is your pre-event routine? And imagery or mental rehearsal is always part of your pre-event routine. And so one routine that I distinctly remember is a combination of the mental and the physical. So I'll talk about that because there's a physical part even in business that's important to pay attention to. I was working with this 16-year-old figure skater at the time, and she seemed to be really erratic. And we tried to dissect why was she erratic. And what we found, the pattern was, figure skaters go out and then they warm up five at a time. And then you're randomly selected which order you go after the warm up. And so if she was first or second, she was powerful and strong and she was great. And she would always skate up to her level of competency, which was a high level at that time, one of the best in the country. And if she was later in it, number four or five, she didn't perform well. And what it came down to was she didn't mentally rehearse, she didn't continue to work with her mind to have her body ready. She'd just sit down, and also her body would get tight and it would freeze. And so, that was why she was underperforming when she had to sit and wait. So we recreated that whole routine of how to just do lots of stuff to stay warm and keep your body moving and fluid. And while she's doing it, and this is, figure skaters are great at this, to close your eyes and actually imagine the mental rehearsal part, imagine doing the routine. And so that way it was combining both the mental and the physical, which is very, very effective.
Nice. Now, you are now an executive coach. You work with high performing salespeople. What is a case study that you can give me translating that strategy into business?
Yeah, salespeople, entrepreneurs, executives. Yeah, one of the top salespeople I know. Okay, well, I'm going to switch. I was going to tell you about one currently, but I'm going to tell you about one I worked with many years ago, and he was probably one of the mentally strongest people I've ever known in my whole life. And he was a former Olympic athlete, and then he was in real estate sales, and he was making about $500,000 at the time when we worked together. And this is 20 years ago, so that's a lot of money then. It's still a lot of money, but it was a real lot of money then. And but he was really committed to always doing whatever he could to make himself even better. And and I forgot your question. I told you about the person. Now I forgot the question.
What's the strategy that you helped him with so he could be his top performing self?
Oh, thanks. So what he found was that when he would do the mental rehearsal, when he do every once in a while there would be little doubts, and so he was so committed, and he was to cleaning out anything in his way of greater success. What we did was we actually went in and helped him, find those doubts where they're coming from his subconscious mind, cleaned them out, which is a little bit different. It's a totally different process, something I do one-on-one, and then they weren't in the way, and he could just be free to be his best again. And what really irritated him about from his colleagues was that not only was he the top producer, but he was only doing it working 20, 25 hours a week. And his commitment was, I don't want to earn more money. I want to earn the same amount of money spending less time. And he just kept finding ways to do that.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this brief interview. If you would like additional information about TC North, please contact me, Kim Tracy, through maxwelljames.net. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim.